Ray J took the stage on Valentine's Day. With blood running down his face, a heart monitor strapped to his chest, and a diagnosis that says his heart is barely functioning. Ray J is determined to go out with a bang, but the strain took its toll. Blood, a heart monitor, and a Valentine's Day stage. On February 14, 2026, Ray J, born William Ray Norwood Jr., age 45, stepped onto the stage at the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium in Louisiana for an intimate Valentine's Day concert. Why? Kelly Price and friends. The lineup was stacked with R&B veterans, Kelly Price as the headliner alongside Bobby V, Sammy 702, Jay Holiday, Sunshine Anderson, and Pleasure P, who was added late to the bill. Doors opened at 7:00 p.m., show at 8. Tickets were available through Ticketmaster. It was promoted as a romantic, soulful night of non-stop R&B hits for couples celebrating the holiday in an intimate auditorium setting. Not a massive arena, but a close-quarters venue where fans could feel the energy directly. And then Ray J took the stage in a bright orange jumpsuit and sunglasses. And within minutes, the entire internet was talking about what they saw on his face. Ray J was one of the key performers on the bill, and from the moment he appeared, the crowd responded with the warmth reserved for an artist whose catalog soundtracked their relationships, their heartbreaks, their Valentine's Days past. Expect classics like One Wish and other R&B staples. That was the promise of the night, and Ray J appeared ready to deliver. He was smiling, moving with confidence, leaning into the intimate energy of the room. But the cameras rolling and the audience captured something that no amount of showmanship could mask. Multiple fan-recorded videos showed a red liquid, unmistakably resembling blood dripping from beneath his sunglasses down the right side of his cheek. This was not a brief blink-and-you-miss-it moment. The streak was persistent and visible as he moved across the stage, handed out red roses to women in the front rows, leaned in to chat with audience members, and delivered fan-favorite R&B performances. In at least one clip, he briefly lifted or adjusted his sunglasses, and the liquid appeared to originate directly from the eye area itself. He didn't stop. He didn't wipe it away with urgency. He didn't acknowledge it to the crowd. He kept performing as though nothing was happening, maintaining the same Valentine's Day energy the audience had paid to experience. Then came the second shock of the night. Midway through his set, Ray J unzipped the top of his orange jumpsuit, deliberately exposing his bare chest to the crowd. There on the upper left side of his torso sat a prominent medical patch or dressing widely identified by fans and media outlets like Complex, Yahoo, and Hindustan Times as a heart monitor, likely a Holter monitor or similar cardiac monitoring device. He appeared to reveal it intentionally, while continuing to sing, as though the device were part of the performance itself, rather than evidence that his body was being actively tracked for failure. Before the show, Ray J had posted on Facebook acknowledging the device directly. He wrote that he had a heart monitor attached to his chest and still felt blessed to be outside with the people. That post read in retrospect functions less as a celebration of resilience and more as a confession, an acknowledgement that this performance was happening against the backdrop of a body in active medical distress. He was telling the world in advance that his heart was being monitored in real time and he was choosing to perform anyway. The question fans would later ask, and that medical professionals watching the footage would inevitably weigh in on, was whether a man 5 weeks removed from a hospitalization for heart failure should have been on any stage at all, let alone one where he was physically exerting himself for an extended R&B set in front of hundreds of people. The videos went viral within hours. Not gradually, but explosively. Millions of views accumulated across Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. The reaction split sharply into two camps. The overwhelming majority expressed raw, unfiltered concern. Prayers up for Ray J flooded comment sections and timelines. Hashtags like Saw and Pray for Ray J trended across platforms. Fans pointed out that a 45-year-old man bleeding from his eye while wearing a cardiac monitor on a public stage was not entertainment. It was a distress signal broadcast to thousands of people in real time. Medical commentators, including nurses participating in live chats, speculated the eye bleeding could indicate cirrhosis, end-stage liver complications, or vascular damage from chronic high blood pressure, though none of that was confirmed by Ray J or his medical team. The second camp questioned whether any of it was real. Some observers suggested the blood was a dramatic stage effect, fake blood, prosthetics, or deliberate theatrical provocation designed to generate exactly the kind of social media explosion it produced. Others labeled it performance art or a health scare flex, arguing that Ray J had a documented history of publicity, generating moments, and that the timing felt too cinematic to be coincidental. The skeptics pointed to one critical fact: Ray J did not collapse. He did not need emergency medical attention during or after the show. He finished his full set, appeared energetic and committed throughout, and reportedly told fans afterward that he was perfectly fine with no visible blood remaining on his face. No reports surfaced of him requiring any intervention backstage. He powered through the entire performance as though the red streak on his cheek and the cardiac device on his chest were mere accessories. props in the theater of Ray J's ongoing reinvention. For those in the skeptic camp, that resilience was itself the evidence. A man with a heart at 25% does not hand out roses and perform R&B ballads for an hour without collapsing. Something they argued did not add up, but the chest patch had no stage effect, that was medically real, and it was entirely consistent with everything Ray J had publicly disclosed in the 5 weeks prior. Disclosures that had already sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and dominated headlines from TMZ to NBC News. Because what happened on that Shreveport stage did not happen in isolation. It happened exactly 5 weeks after Ray J was rushed to a Las Vegas hospital where doctors delivered a diagnosis that shattered any illusion of invincibility he had been carrying for decades. The blood may have been debatable. The heart monitor was not. And the story behind that device? A story of pneumonia, heart failure, 8 medications, and a prognosis that included the word months, is where this narrative takes its darkest turn. As of February 16, 2026, Ray J has not issued a direct public statement addressing the specific visuals from the Shreveport performance. Not the blood, not the patch, not the implications of performing under those conditions. He has been posting normally on social media, otherwise maintaining his public F-facing presence, but the footage from that Valentine's Day concert has now fused with the hospital footage from January 2. Create a single escalating narrative that the internet cannot stop discussing. Ray J is performing with a failing part bleeding from his eye on a public stage, and the gap between his ambition and his body's capacity appears to be narrowing by the week, 25% and counting. On January 6, 2026, TMZ reported that Ray J had been admitted to a Las Vegas hospital with severe pneumonia and heart pains. He underwent x-rays and an echocardiogram while medical staff assessed the extent of the damage. Footage obtained by TMZ showing him lying in a hospital bed connected to monitors, oxygen lines, and IV, wearing a blue cap while doctors conducted cardiac examinations spread rapidly across social media and news outlets, becoming the viral hospital footage that would define the first month of 2026. Coverage on Ray J. It was not the first time pneumonia had nearly killed him. In October 2021, he had been hospitalized in Miami for a severe case of non-COVID pneumonia, forced to share a wing with CO-19 patients due to pandemic-era hospital protocols, and told TMZ at the time that he thought it was over. That earlier episode required oxygen support and an extended recovery period. But the January 2026 hospitalization was categorically different. The pneumonia didn't just attack his lungs this time. It triggered, or more accurately, unmasked, a catastrophic heart condition that had been silently building for years beneath the surface of his celebrity lifestyle. In emotional Instagram live videos posted around January 2528, 2026, Ray J laid bare the full devastating scope of his diagnosis. His heart, he revealed to his followers in real time, was functioning at only 25% capacity. "I want to thank everybody for praying for me. I was in a hospital." That admission, delivered with an almost casual directness on a live stream sandwiched between business announcements and personal banter, was medically staggering. A normal heart's ejection fraction ranges between 55 and 70%. At 25%, a patient falls squarely into the territory of severe heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, classified under current ACC HFSA guidelines, SHF, a condition that without aggressive treatment carries significant mortality risk. "My heart's only beating like 25%. Choices he had made during the height of his fame, he described consuming 4 to 5 bottles of alcohol daily, heavy substance use, including Adderall and other pills, and a relentless cycle of partying that he believed had left his body irreparably compromised. He described one side of his heart as black and done, language that, while not clinical in nature, conveyed the raw gravity of what imaging had revealed to his doctors. He admitted openly that he had felt invincible for far too long, and that the bill for that invincibility had finally come due all at once. The prognosis, as Ray J related to his audience, was dire. He told fans that doctors indicated he may not survive long, deploying phrases like 2027 is definitely a wrap for me, and referencing having only months left to live. The claims were picked up by virtually every major outlet. NBC News reported on it. People magazine ran an extensive feature. Billboard covered the health update in detail. USA Today published its own account. Page 6 reported that he claimed he would not live past 2027. The combination of leaked hospital footage from TMZ and his raw self-recorded Instagram videos kept the topic trending through the final days of January 2026 and into February. In a follow-up TMZ interview on January 29th, Ray J detailed his treatment regimen with unusual specificity. He was on 8 different medications, among them Entresil Valsartan, a first-line RN drug drug that reduces cardiac strain and is considered the gold standard for HFrEF treatment. Jardiance Empagloin, an SGLT2 inhibitor, originally developed for diabetes, but now recognized as a core pillar of heart failure therapy that dramatically reduces hospitalization and death risk. Lipoatovastidine for cholesterol management. 5 additional medications remained unnamed, but contributed to a daily pharmaceutical regimen that reflected the seriousness of his diagnosis. Doctors had placed him on strict bed rest. No alcohol, no smoking, 0 deviation. They were also preparing him for a potential pacemaker or implantable cardioverter defibrillator, a device that prevents sudden cardiac death from arrhythmias in patients with low ejection fraction, with a decision pending, a follow-up appointment 2 weeks out. His sister, Brandy Norwood, emerged as the anchor of his support system. Ray J credited her publicly with covering his medical and personal bills for the entirety of 2026. A financial intervention he described with visible emotion during multiple videos. He told viewers that Brandy paid his bills for the rest of the year, calling it crazy in a tone that suggested he still could not fully process the gesture. The siblings have always been close. They collaborated on the 2010 reality show Brandy and Ray J, a family business, and have referenced each other in interviews for decades. But this was different. This was his older sister stepping in because her younger brother's body was shutting down, and the medical costs of keeping it running were beyond what he could manage alone while bedridden. The Los Angeles Times confirmed the sibling support angle, and USA Today reported on the family rallying around him, including his parents, Sonia and Willie Norwood, accompanying him to doctor visits and providing day-to-day care as he navigated the early weeks of his new medical reality. Even in the midst of sharing these life-altering revelations, Ray J could not entirely separate the gravity of his condition from the unfiltered chaos of his personal life. During that same Instagram live session, the one where he disclosed his 25% heart function to the world, a woman identified as Sheila, who had been sitting with him in the hospital during recovery, playfully struck him while demonstrating boxing moves she had been learning. His reaction was immediate, visceral, and telling. What might have been a throwaway comedic moment on any other live stream became, in this context, a jarring reminder of just how physically fragile Ray J had become. The playful punch visibly rattled him, and his response was not performative irritation. It was genuine distress from a man whose cardiovascular system was operating at a fraction of its intended output. "I can't work out. Don't ever hit me like that again." He went on to describe how the impact disrupted his equilibrium and threw off the left side of his thought processing. Symptoms that, for a man with a heart pumping at a quarter of its normal capacity, carry implications far beyond a bruised ego. Reduced cardiac output can compromise blood flow to the brain, making even minor physical impacts potentially destabilizing in ways a healthy person would never notice. He said he would need to call his doctor, Dr. Gold, in the morning. He mentioned needing to take his pills immediately. The moment passed. The live stream continued, and the business announcements resumed. But for the viewers watching in real time, many of whom had tuned in specifically because of the health revelations, the message was unmistakable. This man's body is not okay, and he knows it. Every playful interaction, every casual physical contact now carries a weight it never did before. The empire, the legacy, and the question nobody wants to ask. To understand why Ray J's health crisis has consumed the internet with the ferocity that it has, you have to understand what Ray J built before his heart started failing. This is not a man fading quietly into obscurity, whose medical struggles are treated as a footnote in a career that already ended. This is a man who has been a fixture in American entertainment for nearly 3 decades, spanning music, television, film, and technology, and who, against virtually every expectation placed on a mid-tier R&B artist from the early 2000s, turned celebrity into a diversified business empire worth tens of millions of dollars. Ray J entered the entertainment industry as a child, appearing in television commercials at age 8 and landing acting roles on The Sinbad show from 1993 to 1994, with later guest appearances on Moesha, his sister Bree's show, and Oni. He grew up in Carson, California, raised by his father, Willie Norwood, a gospel singer, and his mother Sonia. His older sister is the Grammy-nominated singer and actress Brandy Norwood. His first cousin is Snoop Dogg. The entertainment DNA was inescapable from the beginning. By 1997, at 16 years old, he had released his debut album, Everything You Want, with the single Let It Go, charting in the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. His second album, This Ain't a Game, 2001, featuring Wait a Minute with Lil' Kim, debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and established him as a legitimate commercial artist in R&B. The mid-200s turned Ray J from a recognizable name into a mainstream cultural force. One Wish in 2005 peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100, sold over 400,000 copies domestically, and became what many critics and fans would later call a millennial R&B classic. One of those songs that defines an entire era of slow jams and late-night radio. It anchored his album Radiation, which debuted at number 48 on the Billboard 200. Then came Sexy Can I in 2008 with Jungbird, his highest charting single, peaking at number 3 on the Hot 100 and earning double platinum certification. That track drove All I Feel to debut at number 7 on the Billboard 200, his best album chart position, while topping independent and R&B charts simultaneously, 5 studio albums total, a catalog of hits that still generate streaming royalties decades after release. He also founded his own label, Knockout Entertainment, around 2004-2005, giving him a measure of independence that many of his peers never achieved. His pivot into reality television in 2009, with For the Love of Ray J, expanded his cultural presence far beyond music. What started as an R&B career evolved into personality-driven entertainment. He followed that with Brandy and Ray J, a family business in 2010, and later appeared on Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood, and Celebrity Big Brother. These appearances kept him visible. They kept his name circulating in pop culture conversations. Even younger audiences who never heard One Wish on the radio still knew who he was. Then came the entrepreneurial phase, the chapter that surprised almost everyone. In 2017, Ray J co-founded Raycon through his company Ray, launching a direct-to-consumer audio brand focused on wireless earbuds and headphones. The company reportedly generated $10 million in its first year and scaled into tens of millions annually, with cumulative revenue figures said to surpass $300 million in various interviews and reports. He didn't stop there. He launched Scoot e-bike, an electric scooter company later sold in a multi-million-dollar deal to Canadian firm Loopshare in 2019. Estimates of his net worth range around $14 million, with some sources placing it closer to $20 million. The man, once introduced to the public as Brandy's little brother, had quietly built a business portfolio that outpaced many of his musical peers. And now, at 45, all of it, the music, the television, the companies, the wealth exists alongside a heart functioning at just 25% capacity. During a live, he revealed the severity of his condition. Even in that moment, his instinct to hustle never shut off. The same broadcast where he disclosed his 25% ejection fraction doubled as a business rollout. He announced that his Tronix network would relaunch as a dating-focused platform in partnership with the Zeus network, praising it as a ambitious expansion plans heading into 2026 and 2027. The very timeframe he claimed, doctors warned, could be critical for his survival. The public response has been deeply divided. The majority of fans responded with genuine concern. Instagram flooded with prayers, healing messages, and testimonies from people who had survived heart failure themselves. Hashtags like #PrayForRayJ circulated widely across social media platforms. Many praised his transparency about substance abuse and lifestyle choices, interpreting his openness as a warning to others. But a vocal minority questioned the timing. Some critics accused him of leveraging the health crisis for publicity, pointing to the simultaneous promotion of shows and business ventures. Comments questioning whether the announcement doubled as a marketing strategy gained traction in tabloids and online threads. Others speculated about how the narrative intersected with ongoing legal and custody matters, suggesting public sympathy could influence perception. Still, major outlets like the Los Angeles Times and Rolling Stone treated the story with seriousness. Coverage from Vibe detailed his claims extensively. There have been no official contradictions from family or medical professionals disputing his account. Financial assistance from Brandy, hospital footage obtained by TMZ, prescribed medications, and visible medical equipment during a live performance in Shreveport all support the conclusion that his condition is real. Whatever skepticism exists, the health crisis itself does not appear fabricated. One line from his livestream stood out more than any promotional announcement: "I'm going to go upstairs and heal." It was quiet, unpolished, almost vulnerable. Not the businessman, not the